Will AI coming to replace jobs? AI gonna replace tasks, not jobs. Last year was all about how fascinating AI is. This year gonna be very practical how AI make money. So no matter how fancy the solution you're providing, if you're not solving the true problem, that's the end. You're gonna challenge and disrupt Microsoft. No, AI make them more powerful. Another thing is you look at what's happening in the open source community. That's really make me feel very happy. I'm so bullish about open source.
What are some of the best open source initiatives?
Industry need better, faster, cheaper tech, not necessarily the best. Better, faster is easy to understand. Cheaper.
Thank you so much for taking the trip down to LA to hop on the podcast and chat with me.
Yeah, thank you, Lubo. Thank you very much for having me on the show. As I mentioned earlier, that is also a great trip. I'm here for the Grammy and also could find the time right before Grammy to do this recording.
Well, it must be an honor to be invited to a Grammy party.
Oh, thank you. I'm an amateur musician. I'm an amateur musician, so I actually came to Grammy for the past 5-6 years every year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have a couple of musicians in the Fusion team as well. I was joking that that's not part of our interview process, but turns out to be we have lots of musicians in Fusion who actually are passionate evaluating technology. So there might be some interesting connection between creativity, music, and technology innovation.
Well, speaking of music, it got me curious right away. What do you feel are the industries where there's a lot of potential these days with a combination of technology and how things are evolving? Because in my opinion, music is certainly one of them. But
yes.
I would love to hear from your point of view, what are some of the industries for you as a VC investor that you keep on your radar?
Yeah, so I think this year is really exciting. Last year was quite exciting already. The whole world was impressed by ChatGPT, by AI. And we also are seeing that the whole industry, not only technology industry, finally getting to this important moment we call it, no matter it's turning point or singularity point, that we went through the so-called digital transformation, have huge amount of data, and now AI could come into place to help us handle the data. The reason I want to open was this because lots of people just simply saying that, we are in another amazing innovation trend because of AI. It's not only AI. AI been there for like 30, 40 years. We've been investing in AI since 2017, start from AI in healthcare to enterprise AI. But for AI to show full capability, it need huge amount of data and also would require high quality data to further optimize the performance. So I think one turning point from the industry is finally you have so much great data for AI to show the capability. And also we have such an effective tool which is transformer model-powered generative AI last year to enable not only just the tech leader, but everyone to experience what is described as no-code AI platform. Means as a user, or as a kind of directly adopter of the technology, you don't need to write a single line of code. You don't need to understand a single line of code. So I just want to open up with an overview. So we just get started. I think this year we're going to see much more creative and exciting company came out. So back to your question, you asked me about industry I'm passionate about. First, I also want to make it clear that we only do enterprise type of the business. We don't touch anything consumer. So that's our sector focus overall for a Fusion Fund. So that's also kind of explain why the vertical and the industry I'm looking at is more focused on the enterprise level, industry level application instead of consumer. Being said, the first industry I'm super passionate about is really healthcare. In the first couple of weeks in January this year in San Francisco, we have this conference called JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. This is the largest healthcare innovation conference in the United States. And this year we had historical high attendee numbers because people realize healthcare industry first, 20% of US GDP is a huge market. Are we hearing lots of people give compliment to the healthcare system itself? No, it had lots of terrible problems. I summarize as, we have a AAA issue within the healthcare system, accessibility, affordable, accuracy. But AI could potentially solve this AAA issue by integrating into the healthcare industry. Meanwhile, coming to the clinical level, digital diagnostic, digital therapeutics, digital biology, digital life science. When we start to add in digital, means we use AI to handle all this clinical data, we could achieve the goal, the long-term vision of healthcare is personalization. Different people got same disease doesn't mean the trigger will be exactly the same. No matter it's cancer, especially mental disease, consider aging population. If the cause of the disease might not be exactly the same, the treatment should be personalized as well. So now we finally have the technology and data to do more personalized diagnostic and also therapeutic solution, more personalized treatment plan, be able to capture disease at a super early stage. For certain cancer, if the patient capture it at a super early stage, they don't even need to go to the hospital. They just take target medication at home, could fully recover. So that's kind of the future open up for us. And also last year in December, another very exciting news was about the FDA approval for CRISPR. CRISPR technology, gene editing, we've been talking about it for 10 years, but we never had a technology. Just within 10 years of the invention of the tech, got commercial FDA approval. And also the reason gene editing could be progress so fast also because we have so many sequencing data available, and also that's a foundation for AI to showcase. And so that's the first area I'm super passionate about. The other two areas I'm very passionate about, one probably sounds not that sexy, is really the insurance and financial industry.
Okay.
Still go back to what I mentioned. AI, in order for AI to show the capability, it's better to apply it into an industrial use case with a huge amount of high-quality data. Healthcare has that. Insurance, financial industry has that as well. Especially insurance industry. It's not a sexy industry, but it's $1 trillion market. It won't go away.
Massive, right?
Yes, like last year we invested in a company, very interesting. They are focused on using AI to provide insurance coverage for robotics and automation. So lots of factories used to use human laborers. During COVID, lots of the traditional manufacturing become fully automated. Now they have robotics labor. They also want to have insurance coverage for automation and robotics labor. So you use AI to provide to them. Also using AI to leverage the real-time data all the robotic sensors are collecting to do much better risk profile analysis and also much higher margin. So this is just one small use cases within the field. And also the last vertical I really want to tackle might not be super familiar with most of the audience is really the space tech related to the robotics side. I think the phase one of space industry or space tech is, of course, SpaceX, Starlink, rocket launch, satellite manufacturing. That's the infrastructure. Now we see, I think in 2 years, the total number of the satellite we have up in the space is going to be more than the number of the star we can see from our eyes.
It's insane, the number
That's
of
insane.
the satellites that are being launched.
Totally. Think about it. We complain about the bad traffic in Los Angeles. I always joke about, oh my God, the downtown is a parking lot. The same bad traffic in the Bay Area. We also have pretty bad traffic up there, and the collision happen much more often than we saw the car collision happens here. So, for example, we also have an interesting company last year. They're using AI to do traffic management for the satellite. And meanwhile, satellites are generating tons of the space data. How we really stimulate the space economy by leveraging the space data. Lots of people didn't think about, who gonna need the space data? Is that military, government? Not really. Lots of companies need space data, weather data, traffic data, but they don't have the budget to launch their own satellite, which is quite expensive. But if we have more open up the platform to utilize the space data we're collecting, that's another huge market as well.
Yeah.
So there's more thing coming up. I just want to quickly pause there. We'd be happy to talk more about the interesting technology and company we invested.
I feel like, on all of those three examples that you mentioned, we could dive deeper into all of them and explore what are the things within. I think that all of them interest me hugely. Just to piggyback on the first one, on the healthcare side, you mentioned CRISPR, and that seems to be a very controversial technology.
Yeah, it is controversial. But another one is not controversial is the digital biology, powered by, for example, one of the key technology called AlphaFold. You probably remember last year. Now we have the protein folding structure for almost all the protein we have in the human society. And if knock, if in the near future anything like COVID happen again, we would have such a powerful tool to be able to figure out the protein structure of the virus within week and have the antibody, have the vaccine ready within weeks or months.
Well, that speed of development is super fast right now. There's no doubts about that. But do you personally have any concerns about where these technologies like CRISPR might lead, or you feel like it's part of the evolution and we just have to be tapping into them and exploring them as much as we can?
Yeah, I think on one side, I have concerns. I thought about it all the time in terms of whether we have the first right regulation in place while we have so many technology coming out. Second, whether we have the right knowledge and an understanding from the general public to understand how to really be the one control and own the tech instead of being manipulated by the technology. But on the other side, you're right, this is part of the technology evolution. I don't want to call it revolution, it's more like an evolution. I feel it's important for us to raise the awareness of not only just the tech industry or the tech entrepreneur, but the general population to understand things are evolving so fast. And we need to, no matter, try hard to self-educate ourselves and also try to really push the right endeavor to put into the regulation. There are lots of discussion about technology regulation since the past couple of years. Last year definitely blow out because of the AI, right? How we could better regulate the data. One of my venture partner, Rahini, she was in White House until late 2022 and joining my firm since early last year. And we really want to have domain expertise in our investment team to help our founder to understand what's going to happen potentially for regulation and how to prepare their technology solution to also do the right thing in the smart way. So I think that's also the topic we've been discussed a lot of time. But on the other side, maybe I call it silver lining of the sector we're focusing on is, for example, for consumer and also general technology industry, there's no such thing called regulation, like heavy regulation in the past. So things had to start from scratch to understand the nature of the data, nature of the tech, how to regulate it. But if you look at healthcare, financial, insurance industry, even space industry, you'll find something in common. They're all highly regulated industry in the past decades. And also the focus of the regulation partially is focused on the data. So now we have a new tool, which is AI. Try to tackle the data, utilize the data, monetize the data, which may not be focused in the past. So I think it probably will take slightly less time for the regulator in this industry because it's just focusing on understanding what's new brought in by the new tech. But the past regulation has been there for many, many years. So that's my personal opinion. You may not agree, but I feel compared with the general consumer, it is really hard. We heard lots of news. Even today, I saw the news that the deep fake technology is going broader and broader, and there's a financial firm got tricked into it, wire out $25 million into a fake account. So it's happening. And also election is coming. What's going to happen on the social media?
It is crazy. And when you talk about the regulations, I feel like we live in a world today that is moving so fast that for the government and the regulators to be able to catch up, it's extremely difficult to keep that pace how the technology is evolving, because I think that we are on the very steep part of the exponential curve right now, and we can really feel that. I think that many people that I talk to, they would always say, in the previous decades, we would know and we could predict what's going to be coming up next year, in 5 years, in 10 years. And just by looking at what has happened in the past year or two, I think that we lost the sight. We lost the sight in terms of what is really happening 3-5 years from now.
Yeah,
I think we can kind of sense, right, what's going to happen this year, maybe next year. But I think that as we are on this very steep part of the curve, that it's very hard to predict how things are going to be evolving.
You're so right. I think it's also go back to what I mentioned early on. It's not only AI. There's lots of other technology, fundamental technology innovation, not only ready for commercialization and also start to being largely adopted. And plus, in AI is a super tool. It's essentially a tool help us solve problem much faster, push the process much faster. So things gonna evolve much faster, as you said. And another thing is we just get started. Like now people talk a lot about generative AI transformer model, but also there are lots of challenge for running large language model, right? Computing consumption. If we keep paying, all this model company keep paying what they're paying for GPUs, I don't know how they're gonna make money. Have to find a way to lower the computing cost. If efficiency challenge, especially for energy efficiency, we're using crazy amount of electricity to power AI. But think about if we really utilize AI everywhere, are we also on the right path to solve the climate issue, right? And also there's the data privacy issue. We talk about regulation. There's communication issue. There will be more latency. So for all this challenge I mentioned, we definitely already invest in companies try to solve the problem. But on the other side, also means that there might be new architect coming out in the next couple of years, no matter it's software layer, hardware layer, cloud infrastructure layer. We hope there will be new architect come out to help us make AI not only a super effective solution, but also super cost efficient and energy efficient solution. So I think that's really, if you ask me the trend I could predict, I think that's a trend I'm very bullish on. Another thing is you look at what's happening in the open source community. That's really make me feel very happy. I'm so bullish about open source, and open source is doing something quite amazing right now, which also means open source is a platform that enable not only just one single company or one industry, but everyone be able to have access to some of the technology.
What are some of the best open source initiatives that are top of your mind?
I have to promote some of my company, if you don't mind. So we have this company called Nexaflow AI. We invested in them last year. The team is from Berkeley. They're doing extremely well. And they launched their first open source model after, incorporating last summer, September raised a seed round. December, they launched their first open source model. They become the first, it was the first open source model surpass performance of GPT-4 on specialized task, which is the big thing. It is a big thing. So it was just last year, December, they're doing extremely well. And in terms of application, they're also trying out, start with AI for network security, which is also a big problem. Think about all different industries who want to integrate AI. Before they do so, the first step they need to do is have something security related in place and then go to use this new tool. Another one I really like is also one of my company. I'm also on the board called Loft, L-O-F-T. What they do is it's a cloud infrastructure company, help company, no matter small or big one, to integrate Kubernetes solution. And they have this solution called vCluster as a project launched on the open source. Really just enable lots of developers quickly integrate Kubernetes at home, remote. And meanwhile, they have a business like really focused on the company, more kind of refined product to help more people to integrate Kubernetes. Think about the trend of AI. Everyone need to upgrade their cloud infrastructure. And they enable that. So they're also quickly grow. I think the revenue growth has been quite amazing, almost close to 25x since I invest. So lots of new things going on. And also, you probably saw the news recently. There's couple group. They've been not only having open source model, they've been kind of just fully open all the training data they have, how they do the whole process, and also showcase they actually didn't use so much data to get a result. That's also another thing. I was having interesting conversation with my friend at Stanford, talk about, yes, large language model is smart, is using way too much data, but think about the most energy efficient machine in the whole world, which is our human brain. For example, we're talking to each other right now. There are lots of information going on right now, but our brain pre-select certain data.
Just few calories going in.
Yes. And also brain pre-select only important data to use for so-called our algorithm to digest and also generating insights instead of collecting all the data possible happening here and all dumping to our so-called GPU, which gonna cost lots of energy and GPU power. Yeah, so lots of new things may happen in the next couple of years.
It's a great example about prioritization, right?
Yes, prioritization, filtering.
Not taking everything and like trying to consume all the data in the world, but making sure that you pick and choose, and you become very efficient with it.
Yeah. I think this is something I've been talking about it since last year, but I've heard more and more people kind of echo me and also agree with that. It's really, in order to further improve the performance of the model we have right now, the quality of the data matters more than the quantity of the data.
I really like that when I asked you about the trends that you started with, the intro of AI, but you did not talk about AI per se, right? But about the applications in certain verticals, which I find like this is the right way how we should be thinking about it, because in the end, it's, as you mentioned, it's just a tool.
It's a tool you have to solve. The tool has to solve a real industry problem and also create a venture backable business. When we have new tool, you could use it everywhere, but doesn't mean all the application, all industry use cases is gonna be a venture backable business or have commercial value.
There is likely not gonna be 20 companies that will be providing AI infrastructure as big as, we have, for example, Google, Facebook, Apple today, right? There will be a few players in that segment, but taking that technology and applying it in a lot of different industries, I find this as the biggest potential.
Yeah, it is.
And so taking a bit of a segue, because you have huge interest in AI, where are the areas of your personal life where you already implement a lot of AI stuff on the daily basis?
So the first thing is since 2018, if you go to our website, you'll find out since 2018, we start to build our internal data science to our AI tool. And very soon my team named the tool as our AI analyst, Aida. So Aida is the name of the first program in the human history who is a mathematician. Is actually a woman. So my team said, we are a female-led VC firm, so our AI analyst should name after the female programmer. So that's how we call it Aida. So we've been using it since 2018, 2019. And later, since we have more AI portfolio in-house, we also call their API to enable functionality within Aida. So Aida is helping me and also my team in terms of the data gathering, data analysis, automatically filtering of the different type of company. There were lots of founders that start to posting on the Hugging Face, Crunchbase saying that we're stealth mode founder, right? Which means stealth mode, you couldn't figure out what they're doing. But there are lots of other information we could collect and the analysis to see high potential, that they have a good fit with what we're looking for. That's all 100% done by Aida. And every Friday, Aida generates a list of the high potential company, send it to the team member based on the area of the interest. So every Friday, we got a couple deal like in our inbox and could decide what they want to do, the inbound reach out. Like another functionality, simple one, for example, for me, I like to, during the weekend, I always like to read papers because as early stage investor, on one side, looking for a near-term company we could invest. Meanwhile, we want to understand, as you said, what is the future of the tech in the next couple of years? So I have a couple of the research group and top scientists I've been following when they have new paper out. I've been kind of reading their stuff. So recently, Aida have this new feature, just consolidate for them. This is the 20 research group we really like. And check every week to see whether they have new publication, do a quick summary of their paper, send an email summary for me and also the team. So seems like it's not like a major task, but it's lots of time saving. Think about workflow efficiency powered by this simple internal AI tool. And also we could quickly, everything's built in-house, by the way. It just make our day-to-day much more efficient. And another thing I keep using is I have a portfolio company called Otter AI, OTTR.ai. You probably heard about it as well. They're doing great.
Not just heard, but it's one of our clients. So.
Oh, nice.
We have worked for Otter, and I think that we have worked for quite some other companies from your portfolio as well.
Oh, great. Yeah, so Otter. So Otter being a great helper for lots of the Zoom meeting. I feel in-person interaction is great. We make strong impression to each other, much easier to remember things. But for me, sometimes the Zoom meeting is hard to take down the details. And we try to keep the eye contact and sometimes no time to write down things, and Aida take the live transcript. And also they have the Aida Copilot. It's like AI meeting assistant. And after meeting, during the meeting directly send the notes to both sides. Oh, this is the follow-up action you guys mentioned.
Right.
After a meeting, could do smart search. I could directly search, oh, what did I talk with Lu? Did I promise this is it? And the Aida help me do all the search analysis summary already. So it's like a very smart and efficient personal meeting assistant. And all the team are using it. We use it for all of our kind of like Zoom calls, pitch meetings, and all the notes and the recording are very easy to search, navigate, analysis. So being a super effective tool for us.
Well, even the discussion on this podcast is going to be transcribed and
really?
then structured with AI as well, right?
Are you going to use Aida?
We don't use Aida for that, but we use some other tools.
Nice.
Get this sorted out and structured. And I feel like for structuring the information and providing summaries and comparing different pieces of material, it's great. It's like saving so much time, right?
Totally, because AI is good at handling tons of data. And for us, you probably need to have someone, intern analyst, to dig out tons of data for 3 hours or 4 hours. That's an issue. I'll give you another example. We didn't use it yet, but we have a company called Vectara. They basically using large language model enable enterprise AI search. Think about how much material you have within your organization, with any kind of big, small firm. And if you find something from like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, they could enable the search right away across different languages, across different formats. You could search in English, got a result in Japanese if you want. So this is also super effective workflow efficiency too. One last example I want to give is really, I haven't tried it yet, but I think if one day I'm taking CT scan, I'm going to benefit from my own portfolio. We have a company called Saddle Medical. It's a healthcare solution. It's purely software. They use AI to generative AI to enhance the medical image quality. So for any patient go to hospital, CT, MRI, you have two options, either 5 minutes low resolution scan or 2 hour long high resolution scan. Of course, 2 hour high resolution is good. Then you want to see more details, but it was 2 hours. Nobody wants to stay there for 2 hours. Patient don't want to, doctor, nurse, nobody want. Even hospital don't want someone occupy the machine for so long. What they do is patient just take 5 minutes long, low resolution scan. They use generative AI, upgrade it to high resolution. FDA approved since 2019 or something. A couple of years ago, they have 3 or 4 different FDA approval, CE mark, all done. So it's deploying tons of hospital already. So think about for patient, it's better, faster, cheaper, of course. Doctor, no frustration, stay there for so long. Hospital are making more money because they could handle more, not necessarily more money, but they're handling more patients, right? Yeah. And I think they're making more money. So this type of solution, just make our life better in terms of quality of life.
Yeah, I would only be worried about false positives, but I assume that, considering that it's FDA approved, there's been a lot of investigation into that.
Exactly. That's the most important thing. So when I invest in a company initially, I'm also on the board for the company. We actually really look into the details of the FDA, but it was a couple of years ago. The team prepared very good clinical data. All the data submitted to FDA, very diverse, and showcase different case study use cases. And now they were the first one got FDA approval for medical image enhancement.
Yeah, I think that there is countless opportunities in the healthcare industry.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like leveraging AI to either like provide help with, reviewing different kinds of results and scans, etc., and then identifying stuff early. And
totally,
it's exactly what you mentioned earlier, that one of the reasons why leveraging AI is so powerful is that we have been collecting a lot of data, and we have that now available. And we finally have the infrastructure, right? We have the pipelines, we have the compute, we have the models, and it seems like all came together.
Exactly.
And now we are just yielding the results of it.
Totally. It's because some people thought about, is that because OpenAI launched ChatGPT, everything got pushed? No, they probably didn't really expect that things gonna go wild like this, but
they definitely did not expect that it's gonna blow up like that.
Yes. I think, as you said, everything came together. But also within healthcare specific, I really want to mention one thing, because I always heard people worry about, okay, especially within healthcare or some other industry, will AI come in to replace jobs? Here, I really want to quote one of the famous scientists, Fei Li from Stanford. She mentioned in one of the panel, which I 100% agree, like AI gonna replace task, not job. There are difference between job and task. For example, for a nurse is a job, but nurse may have 100 different tasks per day.
Yeah.
And she will be very happy to have AI to replace 30-50% of the task, enable her to do a much better job. So I think that's another thing we also wanted to make it clear. For example, AI won't replace you interview me, but AI would help you prepare all the background questions, all the data analysis to the post-recording editing. I'm sure you probably want that to happen, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And like some of my notes, not that I would generate my notes, I write them myself, but I have the team helping me, and the team is using a lot of different sources to make sure that when we talk about the most interesting topics. And also I like to guide the discussion to where I feel,
Totally.
the passion lies.
Totally.
Well, we have talked quite a lot about what is happening currently, but you have also a very interesting background that I'd like to tap into urgently from Mongolia.
Inner Mongolia.
Yeah, growing up there and have decent portion of your life experience from there, and now living in San Francisco and in Silicon Valley, which I find quite a step. And I would love to get a sense from you how different, because to me it's like huge difference. And I have gone through this with me being from the Czech Republic and then moving over to San Francisco and later on here to LA. I have experienced it myself, but to me, it seems like from Mongolia, it might even be a bigger deal than what I have experienced. So I would just love to hear from you how it came to be.
Yeah, happy to share. So I've been here already 13 years. I came to United States in 2010. And before that, I spent my first 20 years in Inner Mongolia, as you mentioned. And we're famous for cows, lamb, lots of good food. I'm really, really confident and also proud of the food, the culture. People drink a lot and also super nice. But we don't have entrepreneurship. I would say that before I came to Silicon Valley, I don't have a general idea of so-called entrepreneurship. Of course, when I was doing my college, I was traveling to different city, different country for my father. And I know people do business, but just a purely startup entrepreneurship, that's never within my life plan. But I came here and I went to Stanford. I was purely, my goal when I landed in Stanford was to finish my PhD in material science engineering and then potentially become a professor in the future, which going to make my parents super proud. Of course, now they're not proud because I didn't have a PhD. I didn't become a professor. So when I landed in Stanford, material science is really a major. I've been studying material science since I was college, bachelor degree, and continue with PhD research. And Stanford has a reputation of, and also my advisor was Professor Jim Plummer, who was also the Dean of Engineering School. I think many professors at Stanford, they have both experience in academia and the industry. So when they give suggestion to the student which type of research project you could choose, they're also very open-minded. They also want us to try things, not only just to focus on direction going to generate in the best quality paper, but how about some technology for potential commercial application in the near term? So I was doing different type of research and just got motivated. Meanwhile, material science is a very fundamental subject. I did lithium-ion battery, multi-junction solar cell. Most of people may even didn't know about this major, but we basically study everything from physics, chemists, and also even sometimes computer science and mathematician, everything. One of my patent technology had the application for diagnostic of type 2 diabetes. Essentially, it's a sensor to sense the low ppm level of the essential. So I will try to trace what are the potential application. We should detect some industry level essential. Oh, it's ppm, so sensitive. Oh, that's a biomarker for early stage type 2 diabetes. That's how I got started. And I was very lucky when through this technology venture formation program at Stanford, I learn and also got experienced, this is how a company of venture got formatted, called technology venture formation. And also got the investor supporting me, got my advisor supporting me, got Stanford supporting me just to become an entrepreneur. If you ask me at that time, I have to admit, they're part of me because I was too young and naive. I didn't realize how hard it is to become an entrepreneur. But on the other side, I was really fascinated by the ecosystem. And also I feel like that's the opportunity I should take, and also I should take the risk. That's part of my Mongolian culture. If you say that we just like to fight a battle, take the challenges, and move forward. So that's how I become an entrepreneur. It was a miserable life experience because I barely have time for any personal stuff. We just working so hard, didn't sleep much. I remember there's a restaurant very close to the campus. The owner knows me very well. I'm always the one went to the restaurant about 8 p.m. having ordered lots of food, try to eat because I didn't eat a thing during the daytime. She's like, is everything okay with the student? So, and later I graduated from Stanford. I got a master's degree and ran a company for a couple of years and eventually sold it out to a very famous, one of the top publicly listed medical device company. When I sold my company, my ownership was 72%, which really gave me lots of good financial return. It's also because my friends was joking that, you're so smart, maintain your ownership on your company because typical loss of dilution.
Right.
I'm like, I had no choice. I had a hard time to raise capital. So I have to be creative to think about with limited capital I have, how to generate revenue early on, how to have business partnership, and also be super cost efficient. Eventually really pay me well because I have high ownership, means I could negotiate a deal for merger acquisition very well. I got more than majority of financial return myself, and also enable myself to start my next journey. I start to do angel investing, supporting my other fellow kind of founder focus on healthcare or deep tech. So I invested in a couple of them, got good return in 2014. I invested in 2014. Later, I got good return, and in 2015, that's when I started Fusion Fund. Yeah. It really, part of me just feels like there's a great opportunity because technology trend is coming. And this trend is going to be different from the last internet. It will be powered by lots of fundamental tech innovation, tech application innovation. And also with my experience as an angel investor, I realized, although I'm an investor, I'm still in the tech industry. And there's so many different type of company I could empower and be part of instead of just working on one myself. So it sounds like a really good option. And I want to build an institute, could not just a personal behavior, but last for a very long time. So I started Fusion in 2015. So that's a whole story.
Yeah, two big questions that popped in my head. One of them being if you miss being an entrepreneur now that you are on the other side, if at any point in time you would like to go back to the hustle of building a business, because you also mentioned it very nicely that, getting something from your Mongolian culture, right, that you like to fight and push through and everything. In the end, this is what entrepreneurship is all about, right? So you maybe did not know it, but you were getting ready for it even through your culture. So is that something that you would potentially like to get back to at some point?
I still consider myself doing a startup, which is also true. Think about there's so many established VC firms being there for like 30, 40 years. And I also remember when I started Fusion Fund, there's a journalist told me that, there'll never be a person with your similar background as you ever start their own VC firm. I'm like, bingo, I love to be the first one. So I think at the time, I just really treated it as my another startup. It's just in a different industry, and also try to do things creatively, more efficient, and also recruit the best talent within my network who have a strong alignment with me on the vision. So I started by myself and later built up the team with other partners, with other senior, junior kind of the team member. So far, I think I really love it. I think we're in the, use the analogy as a startup, we're in the Series B round, C round right now. Fund 1 is like a seed round. Fund 2, Fund 3, like Series A, Series B. And we also launched different opportunity fund, the Fund 4 coming up. So we're in between Fund 3, Fund 4. So we're in kind of hyper growth stage as a startup. And I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years in terms of pushing the hyper growth of the Fusion Fund. Another benefit of early stage investor, yes, if you ask me directly, yes, sometimes I do miss the feeling that when I was an entrepreneur, I was hands-on pushing things forward. That's really a rewarding journey. But also as early stage investor, I think we have more touch point and engagement with the founder when the initial get started. And also as a board member, as early stage, it's now like late stage board member is about governance. Early stage board member is about supporting the founder. So I'm still part of it. I still could really sense the energy, sense the passion, and also I was able to look at so many companies at the same time. So I think there's no perfect choice that you have everything. But in terms of what I really care, what I really want the most, I really like what I'm doing right now.
And looking at it from a grand perspective, do you see this as an example of the American dream come true?
You mean myself?
Yeah.
I think United States is very unique. It's definitely a place. It's a land for opportunity. It's land for, as you said, American dream. I also feels like it's such a unique country that you'll never find any other country have so many top tech leader or investor leader. They're actually first generation immigrant. And also I think the immigrant bring lots of unique spirit into the country in terms of cultural diversity, in terms of the global perspective. For example, one thing I do appreciate a lot in Silicon Valley is we never heard a founder talk about we're going to build the greatest company in the United States. Everyone is aiming we're going to build a global top company. So this vision, this perspective is really impressive. Another thing is we met each other. We're from different country originally. We have different culture. We cherish. We also really respect and appreciate each other's culture. I think that's also opened up the door for communication for us to learn from each other. That's a part I really like the most of the people I engage with and also the community I'm at.
Yeah, I think that I did all of what you mentioned. It worked the same way for me. And I think that just meeting with a very diverse group of people gives you the perspective that, yes, it's not about just making it here in this small region, but thinking more globally about what is possible to achieve, right? And I think that there is a huge amount of like-minded people in one area that think the same. And I love being surrounded by those people.
Yeah.
The next area that I would like to get into is the actual investing, right? We talked about many companies that are in your portfolio, and we talked about what are some of the trends that are happening. But I feel like we are going through a very special period. We could call it era. Some people call it a little bit of a recession. It's hard to use the word recession when you have one side of the pool growing exponentially and you have the other side really struggling, right? So I feel like it's really a hugely mixed feeling that we have. And we haven't had that experience for quite some time now. And I wanted to get your perspective on what is the appetite to invest these days, because it seems like the appetite is still there, but you as an investor might be looking for something else to fit with the current narrative of the story versus 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yes. I'd be happy to also quickly comment on the industry in general. You're right, especially last year or the year before 2022, 2023, it's kind of a reset of the venture industry in terms of first the expectation for the valuation, expectation of the funding round, how soon it close, and also criteria of all these major players in the market, which type of company they're going to give capital. So definitely there's lots of changes, and also the situation getting a little bit more, like you said, polarized. So it's still continue to happen because of the we see the valuation in the public market. And the last year, the biggest challenge for the private sector is liquidity. Whether the IPO market gonna open up, what is going on with the IPO market, and also how about this year? Merger acquisition is active, which is good. Merger acquisition, especially bigger size, and merger acquisition is happening already, which will benefit as early stage investor. But for grow late stage investor, they need to see much bigger exit in order to help with the liquidity. That's also kind of the major impact on the willingness of the investment and also criteria they're looking for. So this year, I think the situation gonna be continue to be polarized. Polarized, I mean that there's tons of dry powder in the market. Top performing company gonna get oversubscribed round, while most of the founder may still find it's now easy to raise capital, especially grow and late stage company. Many company may have to experience further layoff and also consider what is the funding plan before the end of the year. That's when they may run out of the capital if they couldn't IPO or raise a mega round. There are lots of companies that grow late stage are in that situation, and the bigger VC also need to reserve dry powder to not only invest in new company but also supporting existing ones. So that one's still happening. It's already happened 2022, 2023. It's continued to happen. But if you look at early stage, it's very hot and also very active and dynamic right now because of the upcoming trend we talk about. And also there's lots of high quality founders starting new company, and the number of the deal is increasing. Like last year, the last deal I signed was right before Christmas Day. Like we were doing due diligence for almost a month and quickly get it closed during the Christmas. And everyone is working very hard during Christmas, not only us, but also legal counsel, other investor and the founder. So deals are very active, and the marketing early stage is pretty active as well, which is good news for the founder. But on the other side, the challenge for last year was so much noise, and the market landscape was not clear. In November, 2 weeks before the OpenAI Developer Day, I was having our Fusion Fund annual meeting. In the annual meeting, I was talking to our investor and founder how we look at the landscape of the AI. And there are lots of opportunity. More than 70% will be occupied by the large tech company. And it's happening. It will continue to happen. And it's hard for any startup to try to come in and say, no, we're going to challenge and disrupt Microsoft. No, AI make them more powerful. So I feel it's important for us, including another one like Apple. We talk about Apple Vision Pro on our way up. AI is making Apple even much more powerful than before. So with that happening, founder really need to think it through what other opportunity truly left for a startup. It's still huge because we may see 10x bigger innovation opportunity than internet. But we need to have very clear idea what are for the large tech one, large corporate, what are for the smaller startup. Last year, the challenge is lots of founders just directly jump into the field that very hard for them to win the competition against them.
Going against the big guys.
Yes,
with
and
like
also directly and going against the big guy with the solution with very little differentiation, very little technology advantages. So, and lots of that company may eventually go nowhere this year. I feel for this year, the benefit is I think there's more alignment on the market in terms of market landscape. What are the opportunity for large corporate? What are the opportunity for smaller startup? Like the industry we talked about at the beginning. Why I mentioned that three industry. Do you think a major player in the healthcare sector would be open to share the data with Microsoft or Google? They won't. Would Pfizer give data to Microsoft or Google? No. They know the business model for Google is fundamentally selling data, making money while they're giving their valuable asset to others. They also want to build up their own data strategy. So they would prefer to work with a third-party startup for that solution. So that's the reason I mentioned certain industry with huge amount of high-quality data they could work on. Even for some enterprise solution founder really need to think through. For example, Salesforce has amazing internal large language model AI team they're building, and they empower their existing customer and also existing solution with their AI capability. NVIDIA's model is really terrific as well. And also Microsoft have so many touches. We don't need to mention more about it, right? So I think all of this really make founder need to think about if you didn't start your business a couple years ago, which means you already have some momentum with customer acquisition. If you started now, do you still have time to try to tackle certain application directly competing with the big one? If you don't, probably go to other vertical that you have a higher chance to win. So that's the first thing better this year. I think people in general has a better understanding of market landscape and alignment. Another thing is go back to the fundamental of the business. Build something people need instead of people like. The difference is very simple. When you like something, you like, bravo, clapping for it. When you need something, even UI is ugly, you're going to pay for it.
Right.
And last year was all about how fascinating AI is. This year going to be very practical how AI make money. And whether could make money go back to fundamentally whether this solution is solving a real problem in this industry, people are willing to pay, and also they have enough budget or even growing budget to pay for this pain point. So regardless whether you use AI or not, you have to identify the step, identify the right problem to focus on first and take it from there. So that's very simple fundamental of the business. No matter how fancy the solution you're providing, if you're not solving the true problem, that's the end. Another thing is really about how to evolve together with the customer. I remember I was talking to some AI solution founder from Silicon Valley last year, like they were focused on traditional logistic manufacturing player. They're like, oh, we want our customer to upgrade, put everything to the cloud, upgrade everything infrastructure, then they could use our solution. I'm like, yes, your customer may want to do so, but they won't do it just because they want to use your solution. You have to come in with a very low integration cost, help them, and upgrade together with them.
Yeah, I think that like when you mentioned that you need to think about how it will make money.
Yeah.
That's where it's at, right? It's like, yes, you can create a great use case, but it needs to be something that, does not just wow, but can drive the business. Do you also feel that the perspective of the investors shifted a little bit from looking at like an insane growth speed versus seeking profitability early on in the startup life?
I don't think so. I think early stage startup to prioritize profitability definitely is now the right strategy. But having early market validation is important. These two are different. Having early market validation means you show that you could making revenue. You're able to making revenue means your solution have dedicated customer willing to pay. But the profitability really means that you cut the costs very low in order to reach the profitability point. I don't think founders should do so. Profitability shouldn't be a consideration at the early stage of the startup, but getting revenue should be.
Yeah. So driving some indicators that people want the product, people use it, but still putting the emphasis on investing the money into the growth, etc.
Yeah, solution has to evolve at earlier stage. Seed, Series A, Series B, that there'll be lots of evolution of the technology offering, and also the feedback from the customer is a really important part of the information to help the solution to be more mature. So I think that's the reason. Another angle of not only just getting revenue, but also getting strong industry feedback.
What would be your tip to potential startup founders that might want to pitch you their project? What are some of the areas that really make you think?
Yes.
You say, oh, I like that.
Yeah. The first thing we just discussed, whether they're solving a real problem. This is fundamental, this is basic, but lots of founders actually forget about it when they see I have something really fancy. And another thing is, I feel on one side, we definitely look at, as a venture capitalist, we're looking at a big enough market. So market size has to be attractive. But meanwhile, another important thing is really market timing. Market timing means whether your focus, the industry are ready to adopt your solution. Market timing most of the time are not decided by technology only. And the startup couldn't push the market timing. It's the integrator, it's the user of the tech. If you're focused on healthcare sector, you're focused on logistic industry, try to figure out whether your target customer, Honeywell, are they already 100% automated? Are they ready to adopt this solution? Because they're making the call in the boardroom, in the CTO office, whether they are ready to have the budget to use this solution instead of just look at it. Oh, it's interesting. 2 years later, we're going to revisit it. So market timing, sometimes even tech is ready. Market timing may come later. So that's really one important thing for founder to think about. You don't want to just start something and wait till 3-5 years later the market timing come. But that company could survive so long, right? And the second thing is really regarding technology, especially for a certain type of technical background founder, sometimes founder would feel like we need the best tech. Industry need better, faster, cheaper tech, not necessarily the best. Better, faster is easy to understand. Cheaper is really the adoption of the cost of the tech itself, and also the integration cost of the technology itself. Like the example I mentioned early on, if your customer has to spend much more capital internally to use your solution, they saw the solution as quite expensive. So better, faster, cheaper, very simple to evaluate the technology. The last thing is really about the leadership. Leadership is very important as a founder. We also look at whether founder have the right leadership in order to really make things successful. Entrepreneurship, startups, truly hard, very, very hard. No company gonna just go straight line to up to successful. Every single good company goes through up and downs. Whether founder has a strong resilience and also persistency to hold on to it, strong leadership to keep the team together is very important. So when we evaluate founder for leadership, one, we want to see whether founder has a very clear, unique insight about the industry, about the solution they're building. This unique insight will really help the company to grow in terms of long term and also impact their decision-making process. Second thing is strong leadership also could show, strong leadership also means that founder be able to attract the best talent joining the company. This is a competition of the top talent. Used to be the structure of the company is like a triangle, right? You have the founder on the top of CEO, then you have lots of junior staff on the bottom. Now it's reverse the triangle. If you have very strong senior people on the top, you may not need so many junior people anymore because you could use lots of like Copilot to even write a code, etc. But whether you could attract the top quality, senior experienced people joining the team is critical. So I think that's another thing I really want to kind of suggest to the founder. The last suggestion, as a former entrepreneur, I truly mean it from my heart, is valuation is an illusion. Until the point founder sell the company or IPO the company, valuation is really illusion. It's not 100% reflecting the value of the company. So for founder, another metrics really they should think more is their dilution and also ownership after every single fundraising round. Instead of, whether I could have a higher valuation than my buddy launched a company raising from another one. That's a wrong mindset to think about valuation. If you control the dilution within the range you want to have a reasonable valuation would give founder more power to choose the right investor to work with and also structure the board, structure the investor, the cap table in a very smart and efficient way. Your cap table is essentially your asset.
Yeah, and I think this is so true when you mentioned that in the end, valuation is just a number. But and that can change, right, based on the future performance of the company quite significantly. But if you don't make smart choices when it comes to the dilution on the go, well, that's very hard to fix later on.
Exactly. I always think about the long-term plan when founder consider that the valuation of this round, next round, whether the future revenue could justify the future valuation. Another thing, go back to what I mentioned early on, attracting the best talent. Why this senior engineer or architect from Google quit their job joining the startup? They're looking for potential quick multiple of the option they got. If they join in a company with the initial 409A share price already pretty high based on the super high valuation, founder raise at the first round, then how long does it take for the company actually could justify a higher valuation and also providing at least a 10x multiple for this high quality employee? And this candidates may consider, should I go this? I'll just stay in Google. And the share price is good and also stable, low risk, right?
That's right. That's 100% right. You mentioned earlier that you use your internal AI engine to stay tuned with everything that is happening in the space. What are some of the other sources where you tap into trends, what's happening, and like just to keep up with the pace of technology?
Yes. I feel the beauty of the being venture capitalist is it's more like we're kind of like information hub. It's a center hub. that if you look at my day-to-day, I definitely spend lots of time doing the calls and meetings with the founders. I also meeting with lots of industry leader, tech leader, professors, and to understand technology trend. We also have a CXO network with 44 CTO, CIO from Fortune 500 companies. We do quarterly webinar, connect them with the founder. I also have personal conversation, one-on-one conversation with them regularly. So this is how we're collecting all different information and also from different sources. I even spend time to DC talking, went to White House to understand the regulation, everything. We want to consolidate everything together, then help us to make better decision and judgment. And also that information become very valuable to the founder we're working with as well. One way for us to consolidate all the information internally and also share with our community is every quarter we run an industry research report. Actually, I know you have tons of founder listen to the podcast. If any founder are interested, we have some open public version, shorter one, remove all the sensitive information on our website. Every quarter, we launch our industry research report. Recently, we have insurance tech, basically how AI impact insurance industry, digital biology industry research report. Really, on one side, list out which type of tech are ready for commercialization. Also, industry feedback, whether the industry financial investor are ready to invest in this type of technology. This is a way for us to learn internally, consolidate all the information we have. We also share that with founders. The founder also have a better idea about what is going on.
Thank you so much for listening or watching to the very end. I hope that can only mean one thing, that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, please go ahead and follow us, subscribe, or write a review, and it will be tremendously appreciated by our side. In the meantime, there are a bunch of other episodes that you can check out. And I'll be looking forward to catching you next time.